Today I'm going to show you how to break down whole chickens. It is so much easier than you think. It's a great money saver because buying a whole chicken and breaking it down yourself is so much cheaper than buying all the cuts pre-cut by your butcher. It's a convenient way to get the exact cuts of chicken that you love, like skin-on chicken breasts or bone-in chicken thighs. Plus, it's a fun way to keep your chicken dinner throughout the week exciting by cooking lots of different cuts of meat rather than just chicken breast night after night. Let me show you how I break down the whole chickens, how I store it in my favorite storage containers, and then how I clean everything up after. Let's get cutting. Here I have my whole setup for breaking down the chicken. So let me tell you about each thing. First, here I have my whole chickens. I get these at Butcher Box, which is my favorite. They're organic and humanely raised and they're never given hormones or antibiotics. I get them frozen and I thaw them overnight in the fridge. Then all I did to prep these was I cut them out of the plastic wrap, I rinsed them under cold water, and then I patted them dry on the outside and inside with a paper towel. Then here I have set up my glass containers that I'm gonna put the cuts of chicken into. So this big 8 cup, I do the drumsticks and wings. Then I have these 4 cups, 2 of them are gonna hold chicken breasts, and then 1 of them is gonna hold the chicken thighs. Over here, I have my Instant Pot already out because the carcasses, when I'm done, I add them to make homemade bone broth, so no part of this chicken is going to waste. I'll link to the recipe for my whole bone broth recipe. Then here I have my organic wooden bamboo cutting board. This is my favorite one. It's a great size for the chicken. I also like that it has this little drip line all around it so I don't have to worry about any of the juices spilling off onto my counter. Then I think last is my chef's knife. I love this knife. It's less than $100. It always stays really sharp. I love the size of it. And before I start, I always sharpen my knife. It's important to have a really sharp knife because that's gonna make breaking down the chickens way easier. So I'll link to this one that I have. All that I do is I run it through. It has a coarse setting. So I run it through like 3 or 4 times. And then I do 3 or 4 on the fine setting. And it's ready. So I do this like once a week and my knife is gonna stay sharp for the whole week. Every week I break down 3 whole chickens. I found that it's the perfect amount of chicken that we need for my family of 4, soon to be family of 5. It's me and my husband and I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old son. Breaking down the chicken is so super easy. So I put it on my cutting board. The first cut that I do is I'm gonna remove the whole leg. So I'll do a slit right here in the skin. You can already see why it's so important to have a sharp knife. So far, all I've cut is the skin, and now you can see the meat inside. So I'll lift up the chicken and I'll bend it back and it'll pop out this little thigh joint. And this is gonna show me I'm gonna run my knife right here all along, in between like the spine and the thigh. And you'll just press down, it'll come right through. You shouldn't feel any resistance. Then I'll do this on the other side. So I'll flip the chicken around. Again, I'm just cutting through the skin to get just right to the edges. Then I will pop out the thigh bone and you can see the line you're gonna cut right here. So I do it, I'll hold up the leg and just let my knife do all the work for me. You could leave this cut just like this, where it's the thigh and the drumstick, but I like to split them up. So to do that, I flip it over, and then you'll see right where there's this fat line right here, if you use your finger, you'll feel a little joint right here. You can kind of see how my finger moves. It feels like in between your knuckles. So that's where you're gonna make your cut. It's gonna go straight through. Like so easy. So now, this will go in my thigh container, and then this drumstick will go in my drumstick container. And then I'll do it again on the other one. So I like to just feel around right there. I can feel the knuckle. Just pull your knife right through. Now, next, I like to leave the wings on till the end because it kind of helps to anchor the chicken so it's not rocking too much. So next we're gonna do the breast. So I'll take my knife and I'll slide it along. There's like a breast bone, I think it's called, breastbone or breastplate, right down the center. So I'll run my knife in like long strides and it'll do all the work. So you'll feel this bone right here. Then I'll just do long cuts to cut the meat away from the rib cage. Just like that. And sometimes a little bit of meat is left, That's totally fine because this whole carcass I'm gonna use to make bone broth, so none of this meat is gonna get wasted. Now I'll do it again on the other side. And I like to just do long pulls. Just let the knife do most of the work for you. And right here is where I'll pierce through. Now I have the breast. This piece right here is called the tender. So whenever you buy chicken tenders, it's this little piece here. I just leave it on. You can pull it off. My favorite is leaving the skin on the chicken breast. This is a hard cut to find in stores, a skin on boneless chicken breast. One of the reasons why I love cutting it myself. So I leave the skin on because it has such great fat macros for keto, plus it's so delicious when the skin gets really crispy. So I will put these in my container. Last is going to be the wings. So for this, you're cutting in like the armpit. So I'll hold the chicken up and I'm gonna cut just right here. You're gonna see this little joint go right through. It'd be pretty easy. So this one I add with the drumsticks. Then I'll do it again on this side. Just go right through the armpit and through the joint. You can break this down further. You can, this is like the little drumette, and then this is the wing part, and then a lot of people get rid of this tip. So if you want to do that, you just do a cut here and a cut here. I like the whole wing because we always grill these. It's a lot easier to flip them on the grill when it's just one big piece. Last, I have the carcass that I'm gonna save and use for bone broth. So all I have to do is just add it right in here. So now I repeat this whole thing with 2 more chickens. I do just 3 chicken breasts in each container because on chicken breast night, Sean and I will each have 1 and the boys will split 1, so 3 is all that we'll need for that meal. So as you're cutting the chicken breast, you'll see I'm doing long dragging slices. I'm not doing like little hack slices. The long ones are gonna give you a much better cut in the end. Everything is all cut up now, so I'm gonna wash my hands and then I'm gonna show you how I store everything and then clean everything up. The first thing I do is I get the bone broth going. So I'm gonna add in water up to the fill line here on my Instant Pot. Now I'll add the lid and cook this on high pressure for 3 hours. I'll do a link below to my full bone broth recipe. This dish, I'm gonna give a quick rinse and then put it in the dishwasher. Let me show you how I clean and disinfect my cutting board and knife. So first I'm gonna get it wet with water. Then I'm gonna use this Branch Basics, which is my absolute hands down favorite toxic-free cleaner. I'm gonna use their foaming hand wash, which I also use as a dish soap to scrub down the board. I have this little scrubbing brush, so I'll put the soap on this and then just rub the board down. And I'll use the same soap on my knife. I always hand wash my chef's knife. This will keep it really sharp and in great condition. Same for my bamboo cutting board. If you put it in the dishwasher, it dries it out. It'll kind of warp it. So always hand wash both of these. I cannot rave about Branch Basics enough. Not only is it the best toxic-free cleaner that I've used, it's the best cleaner period. It makes it so easy to swap out and have your house be free of all chemicals. So if you've never checked them out, I highly recommend them. You can use my code TASTELOVELY for 10% off any starter kit. Now that everything is all soaked up, I'm gonna rinse it off with water. Then the last thing that I do just to make sure that it's really clean is I spray it with the Branch Basics, just their all-purpose cleaner. I'll spray it on the knife and the cutting board. I'll let it sit for like a minute and then I'll come and wipe it off and it is good to go. To clean my counters, I'm gonna use the same Branch Basics all-purpose spray. I just spray it right here on the surface and then wipe it off with a paper towel. This is how I store all of the cuts. I'm using these glass Snapware containers. I'll link to the exact ones that I'm using in the post. These are my favorite Tupperware. I love that they're glass, so they're toxic free. They're dishwasher safe, they're oven safe, they're freezer safe. I love that they stack into each other when they're in the cabinets. They don't take up as much room. They're just the best. The other great thing about these containers is the lid. You can write on the surface with a Sharpie and then it erases even after you put it through the dishwasher. So great. So I'm gonna label what cut is in each container and then today's date. All these cuts I'll store in the fridge. They're good in the fridge for 7 days. And this will be 4 nights worth of meals for us. So one night we're gonna grill off drumsticks and wings. 2 nights we're gonna have chicken breast dinners, and then another night we're gonna have chicken thighs. So our chicken for the week is all ready to go. I have links below for everything that I showed you that I use and love. And if you're new here, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you never miss any of my keto recipes or tutorials.